The minigames in Feral are incredibly useful, allowing players to grind ingredients faster than harvesting could, get tons of likes, and win exclusive prizes that are valued by the community, while What the Hex, Dizzywing Dispatch, Twiggle Builders, and the Kino games are beneficial in their own unique ways. I suck at all of them, so here's my very professional guide to Do or Die. Although Do or Die doesn't have any exclusive items, it's wonderful for grinding ingredients, especially levels 62 and 101, which are notorious for being arguably the easiest way to obtain rare ingredients not including trading. However, it's quite a grind to get there in the first place, and I'm going to teach you how to master the game. If you don't know how to play Do or Die, the point of the game is to find the correct combination of ingredients for the pot. Here's the official guide. I won't stop to read them, but you can pause the video if you need to. No Do or Die level is the same. It is randomly generated by the game's code. Hence, instead of having a single solution for each level, you have to implement strategies. Do or Die has two major strategies that can be used for almost every level. A strategy for when duplicate ingredients are allowed, and a strategy for when duplicate ingredients aren't allowed. The first 10 or so levels are pretty easy and you pretty much just rely on luck. For example, let's see level 1 here. It says duplicate ingredients not allowed, so we can go ahead and enter our first ingredient here, spin the wheel to our second one, and drop it in. If that's the correct combination, awesome. We can go ahead and try to the next level. If not, try again with the ingredient switch and you've now completed level 1. Level 2 is the exact same, but level 3 is where things start to spice up with 3 ingredients to pick from instead of 2. At this time, you can just kind of do whatever and you'll eventually get lucky. You can keep this up for a couple more levels, retrying if you get unlucky and really need those 3 stars. When you get to the duplicate ingredients allowed stage at level 6, this is where we can implement our first strategy. The key strat for dupes allowed is this: dump all the ingredients onto one. You might get lucky, and this will be the end of the level. You might be completely wrong, and the correct answer is the other two. Or one will be right and the other will be wrong, because remember, just because duplicate ingredients are allowed doesn't guarantee that they will be duplicates. If this is the case, test the beetle in the first spot. If it gives you a star, you know that this ingredient goes in the first spot and the next ingredient goes in the second spot. If you get a diamond, you know that this ingredient goes in the second spot and the next ingredient goes in the first. The strategy may seem long and tedious right now, but once you get to higher levels where there are more beetles and more ingredients, the strategy shows to be extremely helpful. Here's an example of how this strat works out on a higher level. Let's take a look at level 74. 5 beetles, 3 ingredients. I'm gonna dump all of this first ingredient onto my beetles to see how many I have. From here, I can start testing one beetle at a time to determine what the correct placement for the one that was positive is. Then, I can move on to the next ingredient, making sure I don't put one in the spot that I know the other one was at. Once I figure out which slots the first 2 ingredients are in, I can assume the placements of the last ingredient and enter my final recipe. Back at level 8, our second strategy begins to come of use. Now, there are 4 ingredients to choose from, and there are no duplicates. At this point, you can implement the second strategy, which I like to call one at a time. I drop the ingredient into the first spot. If it's a star, I know that this is the first ingredient's spot. If it's a diamond, I can assume it's the second one and test other ingredients. If it's neither, I go on to another ingredient. Once I find the 2 that give me positive results, I can use the information I have to put them in the correct order. As always, this will get much more complicated in higher levels, which I will demonstrate with level 82. 5 beetles, 7 ingredients. I test my first one, and if it is correct, I go through each beetle to find where it stands. I continue doing this with each ingredient until I can find out the correct solution from the information I have. It will take some time, but you can reach level 62 and 101 using these same methods. If you want to continue to do all 150 levels, the same methods apply. However, if you want to stop and grind for ingredients, here's the ideal way to do it. Level 62 isn't as efficient in terms of speed, but it doesn't give dies like level 101 does, which is good if you're just looking for materials and likes. It requires a slightly different strategy in order to complete it the quickest way possible. Dump the first 2 ingredients onto the beetles. You'll either get it right, meaning you can play again, or you'll get them wrong, meaning you can go on to the other 2 and figure out the solution there, or one will be right. If only one is right, pick one of the ingredients and test it. Don't bother putting it in the right spot if you don't need to. If it gives a negative response, the correct ingredient is the other one, which you can test with the other 2 unused ingredients until you get the correct match. If it gives a positive response, it's the correct ingredient, and you can test it with the other 2 until you get it correct. Level 101 is a fast one. 2 ingredients, 2 beetles. There are 2 possible outcomes for whatever you try on this level. Either you get it right your first try, or you don't. The most important thing in this level is not remaining ingredients, but speed, which is what is going to get you the most points. To save as much time as possible, always try the ingredient you're on first and save the other for second. If you get a lucky shot in 18 seconds or under, you're all set and can try again. If you don't, you have to do this in order to get all 3 stars. Waste one of your ingredients. You already know what the answer will be, but do it anyway. If you don't do this, your score won't be enough. The reason for this is that wasting one of your ingredients allows you to get the last resource bonus, which is identical in score to the lucky shot bonus that you get from getting it right on the first try. These 100 points are the game changer for this level. Through my personal testing, 17 seconds is the bare maximum in order to get all 3 stars, and anything after that isn't going to make it. With these strategies in mind, you can play these 2 levels as many times as you want, getting tons of dyes and rare ingredients in a fairly short period of time. As with pretty much any speed-oriented, randomly generated levels game, luck plays a huge factor for all of these. Sometimes you'll get lucky and your first tries will be the correct solutions. Sometimes you'll get unlucky and nothing you do works, giving you a really low score. Or, even worse, you're that close to getting 3 stars, but you can't quite get there. However, this doesn't mean that it doesn't require skill. All of Farrell's games require a level of concentration, critical thinking, and quick reactions. All of these skills will get easier with practice and you'll be a minigame god in no time.